Paul. Oh my god, it's Satan. Like, what the fuck is Paul about? I really don't like Paul's characterization. I mean, I guess we've all figured out that it's fake, so we're just gonna say Paul's characterization because he's playing a character. First of all, the fact that you have no respect for this woman, you've gone and you've sought out a therapist, the least you can do is have respect for her. Just basically her practice, her professional practice. And also this whole stereotype of, oh my god, I deal with high net worth individuals, I deal with basically rich people, celebrities, influencers. I don't understand this culture these days of just people not wanting to do regular stuff. Like, I'm a regular personal trainer, I train regular people, or my friendship circle is just normal guys that are, doing regular jobs. Why do we always want to be surrounded by people that live a lifestyle that's way above our tax bracket, and then also feel like we have to compensate and sort of like earn our place within that friendship circle? I think if you're around millionaires, you don't necessarily have to spend 10 grand for them to accept you into their circle. I mean, if they're your friends and they know your financial situation, why would they allow you to spend 10 grand that they know you don't have? You're going to spend the following week chasing your tail, trying to recoup that 10 grand that you just lost. I think it's dumb. Yeah, fair enough. You're around those people obviously to be influenced by them, to have access to their connections, and to have access to basically the knowledge that they have and the resources that they have. But does that mean that now you also have to be on their level playing field, knowing your own situation, and obviously them knowing you? Yeah, I really hate that for us, because why do you have to live way above your means just for you to probably one day, which is not guaranteed for everybody, you could be around millionaires, you could be around all these people and still not come out with the same, or with the same outcomes. Yeah, you guys are, there's equality of opportunity, and then there's not always equality of outcome. So I think it's a bit stupid to spend 10 grand today impressing people, hoping that one day you get a return on that investment, which is not even guaranteed. I mean, if you told me that, okay, I'm putting 10 grand into, even though I hate crypto, I think it's stupid, I think people are going to lose their money, and it's just the most unsafe thing to put your money into. If it's better to put 10 grand into crypto than to put 10 grand on a bar tab with your rich friends, well, not knowing what's going to come from it. I can understand if you put 10 grand of your bar tab because you've made $1 million somehow with this guy. That's understandable. That's 10 grand you can afford to use to thank your connects or whatever. That's different. That's understandable. And just the whole dynamic with Chioma and Paul, I just think, don't spend your 20s auditioning to be a wife, because that's as much as your 20s are about trying to find someone, I think it's also just about having fun, dating, and seeing what you like, not locking yourself down to one particular situation, especially a situation like hers and Paul's. If in real life it's not really a situation I would encourage anyone to be so invested in, because already out the gate Paul is coming with the disrespect, and just like the disdain from Chioma was also palpable. Like when she was saying that, you guys are talking about you go to a private members club, but all you're doing is gambling. And it's like, to some of these what can I call them, entrepreneurial men, it really seems like a plausible idea. Like, if I hang around with all these people, something is bound to stick. Which, yeah, it does for some people, but I think just as much as hanging around the right people is important, is actually putting in the actual work, and just, getting yourself as much exposure as you can and just letting your work speak for itself. I think sometimes courting the right people, as much as it can be a cheat code to success, I think sometimes it also sometimes it does come off as opportunistic to those people as well, because they know that you're around them purely for the fact that you want to advance yourself. Yeah, some people may see that as, it's admirable. If I was in the same situation, I would be doing the same thing. And then some people would just look at it and just sort of like, yeah, basically on the whole blues therapy thing. I haven't watched the whole thing, but I just think don't spend your 20s on conflicted dick, because men in their 20s, early 30s, they're quite conflicted. They're still trying to find their careers, still trying to find themselves in the world, and those that really want to marry, they find the girls that they like, they're more their speed, and they settle down. And then there's the types like Paul that will be finding you on Instagram, and then all of a sudden Instagram now is not a good place for you to go, or they meet you doing one thing and then they want to piggyback off your thing and now it's our brand. Or the other guy that's always on Clubhouse, and it's like, what is even on Clubhouse? What are you doing? I mean, Clubhouse was cool for like a week or two after we got on, but after that, I mean, if you're networking, maybe, yeah, but at the same time, I don't think you need to network for that long or be that engrossed in networking on Clubhouse, because to the point where your girlfriend is complaining that you're always on Clubhouse, it's a problem. It's a problem. Yeah, I think Clubhouse is also quite clout chasey when people are now being put on rooms and they're moderating and they're doing all these things. It can be sort of like an ego boost as well, and some people need that, so they're gonna chase it and chase rooms where they can be moderators, and then urging influencers and celebrities to comment on Palestine. I was just thinking at the beginning of this week probably that I don't really know a lot about this Palestine thing, Zionism and all this stuff. So I wouldn't necessarily want to wade into that kind of heavy conversation, because we know as soon as you say something, you're getting dragged. Rihanna said something, and because of the way she worded it, she was getting dragged for it. And then now people are dragging people like Molly May and Melissa Wardrobe. And it's like, you're damned if you do and you're damned if you don't. But at the same time, I just think we should let people step up for causes that they know well enough. Or if they, if they step up for themselves, then that's fine. But you don't want to pressure someone into saying something and then they say the wrong thing and it messes up their brand. That's not fair on people, because people build these brands off their, hard work and their sweat and their tears. Yeah, fair enough with the people supporting it. But at the same time, if the person is not necessarily like an organizer or a social movement kind of organization, I think is a bit unfair to expect them to say anything. Yeah, if someone is moved by a cause to the point where they want to speak up, fine, great. But to solicit people and then try and drag them or expose their responses is a bit unfair, because obviously if you come into someone's DMs talking about why are you not posting about Palestine, you're catching someone off guard and their response might not be as thought out and as calculated, which is now like a snowball effect of them saying the wrong thing and just going down this rabbit hole of just being offensive and just seeming like they don't care, of which people do care about Palestine, even if they don't say it out publicly, they do care. And then I wanted to talk about Zeze and Oloni. I think I want to start off by saying this. I think both Zeze and Oloni are about they're women that are about empowerment, female empowerment. I think Zeze, when she first started, she was sort of like on this dark skinned women and black men thing, and then Oloni, obviously she does her sex positive stuff. But I think the where what well from what I saw yesterday, it's this idea that there's girls like Zeze and there's girls like Oloni, and as a woman myself, I don't think they should be that divide. I think as women, there might be things that some women do that I don't necessarily agree with. Like, take for instance, you might hear some women saying that, in their friendship circle they've slept with one guy, that or they might be like, oh, they might recommend a guy to another girl because they've slept with him and they know he's up for a good time and he's a good time. To me, I'm just like, if someone slept with someone I know, they're now off limits. But then to some women, that's fine. And that's okay. That's, if as long as they're making their decisions and they feel empowered and they feel however they feel. I think when Zeze said that, why are you criticizing men but still wanting to have sex with them? It's a bit of a silly thing to say, because in the world we criticize everything. Take for instance, we criticize whiteness, we talk about racism, but does that mean that we don't have any white friends, or does that mean that we're not open to having relations with white people? We are. So I think there's a fair amount of criticism from both men and women. Women criticize men because we want better from them and we expect more from them or from our relations with them. Someone to argue that, if you're criticizing men don't have sex, go have sex with your vibrator, is a bit silly. And then this thing of what do women bring to the table, I feel like a man that asks you what you bring to the table is a man that's out of his depth. A man that is financially stable, emotionally stable, mentally stable, is not going to fix his mouth to ask you what you bring to the table. Either he's realized that his finances don't measure up to what you need, or he's realized that you're not nurturing him emotionally, or he's just going through like a crisis at that point and you're not meeting his needs in the way that he wants them to be met. I don't think a man that's just basically stable in his life is going to fix his mouth to say that, because before you fix your mouth to say that, you just leave someone. Because when you do that, would you expect them to tell you that they bring to the table? If you don't see it, then it's not there. So why are you asking someone? I mean, as much as some people might think, oh, this is so empowering for men to ask women, what do you bring to the table? It sounds stupid, because it sounds like you're not doing your homework on these women. You're not vetting women enough to ask them what they, to know what they bring to your table. Because there's also that thing of what I require from guy A might not be what I require from guy B, because I understand where guy A and guy B are at. So at the same time, there's also that thing of, a woman in her right mind is not going to come and ask you for a Birkin if she can see that you can't afford a Birkin. But if you're online telling people that you've got APs, you've got all these things, then women will require that from you. Don't ask me what I bring to the table. I am the table. If you have to ask someone what they bring to the table, you're clearly out of your depth. Leave them. And also this notion that if a man leaves you, or if a man stops talking to you, it kind of puts men on this pedestal, or like they've got more leverage in dating. As much as some men have stopped talking to me, there's so many men that I can name that I've also stopped talking to for reasons I probably, women just as much as men can walk away from a relationship. So this idea that, oh, if a man stops talking to you is because he's seen that you don't bring nothing to the table. Sometimes you might realize that he doesn't bring enough to your table, so he needs to remove himself from the situation. I don't think it's always that women are inadequate or women are lacking. I think Yeah, sometimes a man that's sensible is going to remove himself from a situation that he can see is above, is above his, is above him.